First at noon, after more than 6 months of debate and negotiations, the One Big Beautiful Bill Act has now been passed by Congress and will soon be on its way to the president's desk. But as Erica Brown reports from Capitol Hill, the fight over the legislation faced several big hurdles.
House Republicans handed President Trump a big win on his so-called Big Beautiful Bill.
The yeas are 218, the nays are 214. The motion is adopted.
Lawmakers passed the massive budget bill after a day of tense negotiations, with Republican leaders and President Trump himself working to wrangle support from GOP holdouts.
He helped answer questions and articulate his vision and what this bill will mean for the country and his agenda.
The legislation significantly boosts spending for border security, immigration enforcement, and defense. It also extends Trump's 2017 tax cuts, increases the child tax credit, and ends taxes on tips and overtime pay.
The One Big Beautiful Bill is for the people who don't have lobbyists in this town.
The Democratic House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries delayed the final vote with a record-breaking 8-hour and 44-minute floor speech in opposition to the bill.
We're here, Mr. Speaker, to take our sweet time on behalf of the American people.
Democrats voted against the bill unanimously, citing changes and steep cuts to safety net programs, including SNAP, the Food Assistance Program, and Medicaid. The nonpartisan Congressional Budget Office estimates Medicaid could be cut by roughly $930 billion, with nearly 12 million people at risk of losing health care coverage.
Shame on this institution if this bill passes. That's not America. We're better than this.
President Trump is planning a White House signing ceremony for his signature legislation on the 4th of July. Erica Brown, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
Meanwhile, Hawaii solar companies are racing to hook up new customers before the Trump administration changes the rules on a major tax credit. The president's budget bill sharply reduces access to a 30% tax credit for solar and wind power projects. To get the subsidy, certain materials have to be made in the U.S., and construction must begin in the next year. Some installers tell us their calls are up 300%. One person was hurt after a small plane crash landed on the Big Island this morning. At around 7 a.m., authorities say a mayday call came into the tower, and then the Cessna lost power and all communications. The pilot, who was the only person on board, attempted to land on Kekahakai State Park Road. After crash landing, the pilot was able to walk away from the Cessna and was taken to Kona Hospital with minor injuries. Kekahakai State Park Road will remain closed for most of the rest of the day while crews remove the aircraft. Also on Hawaii Island, a man has been booked for attempted murder after police say he shot a woman who tried to break into his home in Ocean View. Investigators say the 68-year-old shot the woman Monday afternoon after confronting her and a man who had driven a red pickup onto his property on Hukilau Drive. Now, surveillance video captured the same truck on the property days before that when some of the owner's things were stolen. The woman is now listed in critical condition. The man she was with is now wanted by police. Happening today, former prison guard Mikhail Rivera will be sentenced for his crimes. It comes after he pleaded guilty to sexually abusing inmates under his custody. According to court documents, Rivera was a correctional officer at the Federal Detention Center in Honolulu from 2014 to 2018. Authorities say Rivera committed multiple sexual acts with one inmate who did not consent and engaged in sexually abusive conduct with 2 other inmates. He faces up to 15 years in prison. No attempted murder charge for the McCully property manager accused of trying to kill one of his tenants on Algaroba Street on Monday. Instead, police charged Daniel Wu with attempted assault yesterday. Police arrested the 81-year-old after he allegedly hit the 57-year-old woman in the head from behind and then tried to strangle her. He's being held on $100,000 bail. Well, so far this year, 40 people have died in traffic crashes on Oahu roads. That's a 150% increase from this time last year. And HPD is trying to prevent crashes by beefing up patrols this holiday weekend. Officers will be looking for drivers who are speeding, drunk, or distracted and on the phone. And riders on two wheels are urged to be extra careful.
E-bike accidents are one every day or every other day. On top of, again, regular bicycles, motorcycles. We had an e-scooter accident last week. If you hit a structure, a parked car, a moving car, the rider on a two-wheel vehicle will always lose.
Driving with Aloha, I think we always say that term, but it means more than just, giving a shaka. It's really about being conscientious about how our actions affect, not just ourselves, but everybody else on the roadway.
HPD will have officers on overtime and will alter shifts to increase patrols from July 4th through the 6th. And the Honolulu Police Commission is debating how to pick a new police chief. In a hearing yesterday, commissioners weighed the options of hiring an outside consulting firm to help find candidates versus handling the hiring process itself.
I can see how that would be okay if we were like the commission for like a very small town of like 10,000 people. But that's not the case here. This is the 10th largest department in the United States. I don't think any other of the top 10 departments in the United States are just having their commission randomly decide on their own whims who they want to pick.
The commission is leaning toward using an outside firm like they did when Joe Logan was selected, but it's hoping to take less time to pick his successor. The commission will look to solidify its plans at a later meeting. News on the governor's plan to reshape the Hawaii Tourism Authority. The entire 12-member board of the HTA has now resigned. The members have been slowly conceding since the governor signed an HTA overhaul bill last month, turning the board into an advisory committee. Then last week, he made a formal request for their resignations. The governor spoke about his frustration with the agency earlier this week on Spotlight Now.
A lot of the time, it was people taking shots at each other if they didn't like one another very much. I don't like to operate that way. I find it very wasteful, and so that's what the future holds.
The governor will soon appoint a new HTA advisory board, and that board will then recommend a new CEO.
Aloha on this Thursday. Stronger trade winds are on the way. In fact, it's going to be quite breezy over the weekend. And now rainfall is minimal, much drier this morning than this same time yesterday. And the winds slightly stronger. And that's going to be the case. We'll see fewer showers, stronger winds as we head into the weekend, starting with today. It's going to be a beautiful day. There are a few showers out there, but not much. By lunchtime, we'll see lots of sunshine and those winds picking up through the afternoon to 15 to 20 miles an hour.
Thank you, Guy. Severe storms may cause trouble for holiday travelers all over the United States. Over the past few days, tens of thousands of people were stuck at airports after their flights were delayed or canceled. And more storms are expected throughout the day. Chris Van Cleve has more.
The nation's airlines are hoping the 4th of July holiday will bring some independence from the severe storms along the East Coast that have delayed and canceled thousands of flights since Friday.
The cancellation started on Monday, and here we are, Wednesday morning. We can't fly back to Norfolk. There are no flights available.
American Airlines expects Sunday to be its busiest day of the entire summer.
July 4th is the peak of the peak.
Airline industry analyst Henry Hartevelt.
The big concerns I have are the weather and air traffic control. Will the system hold up? Will we have any problems, whether they're in Newark or elsewhere, because of technology issues?
So the weather, which is a constant, and this year it's the FAA.
If any one of those two things fail, the system could go kablooey.
The TSA is planning to screen more than 18.5 million people around the July 4th holiday. Lori Jones and her son were leaving Los Angeles for a quick trip to Washington, D.C.
We are going to D.C. because my son is in Inglewood High School band, and they're going to be in the Independence Day Parade.
How exciting is that?
He's very excited.
AAA projects nearly 62 million will drive, finding gas prices on average about 33 cents a gallon cheaper than last year.
Haven't hit too much traffic along the way.
The Reuter family was gassing up outside Denver on their drive from Tucson to Minneapolis.
So we're trying to get there by the 3rd so we can enjoy the 4th.
AAA expects the afternoon and evenings to be the busiest times on the roads through the 4th of July holiday weekend, particularly as people make their way out of town today and when they're coming back Sunday. At the airport, today and Sunday will be very busy. Chris Van Cleve, CBS News, Los Angeles.
Ahead on This Is Now, a coincidental connection helps a Hawaii woman learn about her long-lost father who died in the Vietnam War. Plus, the Trans-Pacific Yacht Race is underway with the first wave of competitors en route to Hawaii from California. Casey Lund has the details in 2 minutes. An emotional turning point for an Oahu woman who grew up knowing very little about her father. As our Ben Gutierrez reports, she knows a lot more now thanks to a TV news story that aired in Las Vegas.
That news story was about a Las Vegas area man's visit to the Vietnam Veterans Memorial in Washington, D.C. that unexpectedly led to Kauai Keola finally learning about the father who was killed in action and that she couldn't remember. 4-year-old Kenneth Pavis was at the Vietnam Veterans Memorial in Washington, D.C. last April.
Were you trying to find somebody?
I found somebody.
Oh, where is he?
Benito Agarda Jr.
Right there.
Yeah.
That's my father. That's my father's name. He's looking for my father's name, and I just broke down.
This photo is the only one that Kauai Keola has with her father, Benito Igarta Jr. Kauai was just 3 years old when Igarta was killed in Vietnam in March 1966.
Basically, all I knew was he was a Marine, he was a gunny sergeant, went to Vietnam, his helicopter got shot down, he died. And that was all the information I had.
How do you feel that you found him?
Sad. He was a good man.
Nearly 60 years later, it was the first time she heard from someone who had served with her father.
He was like his chief or his supervisor person, and he really liked him. And it was just amazing that he went to the wall specifically looking for my father's name.
And he liked his job so well that he waxed the airplane. The commander's aircraft was waxed.
After her father died, her mother didn't talk about him. Kauai believes that was her way of coping with the loss.
We would visit his grave, and honor him in that way, but there wasn't any, remembrances of the kind of person he was, what he liked to do, what he did outside of the military.
The reason she was able to connect with a man her father supervised is because the TV story about him at the memorial was seen by Kaui's cousin.
I think the story that you did was about my family.
She sent me the video pretty much without just, here, take a look at this. And then I watched it and it was, I mean, so emotion filled because it's like, you should have warned me. No.
Kaui was able to connect with Pavis through the TV station and visited him at his home in Henderson.
And this is Agarda's daughter.
Thank you very much.
Kaui got to talking with Pavis about the father she never knew.
It was meant to be, and I think, it was God's hand in this and maybe a little bit of my father to help me understand and maybe teach me a little bit. I could feel the respect he had for my father was so real that he went to go find his name.
Keola is hoping to meet up with Pavis again soon and would like to fly him here to Hawaii to meet the rest of Igarda's family. Ben Gutierrez, Hawaii News Now.
Thank you, Ben. The first wave of racers is now on its way across the Pacific in the legendary Trans-Pacific Yacht Race. 16 boats are heading to Oahu right now. Casey Lund has the latest on their ocean adventures.
Aloha from the Hawaii Yacht Club. So much fun happens right here near the Alawai Harbor, in the Alawai Harbor, as those racers complete the race. Of course, the finish line at Diamond Head, those folks coming from California. I've got the vice chair and the chair. We have Leslie Foster with us for the Honolulu committee, and Chair Doug Allen. I want to start with Doug. Behind us is this beautiful trophy case that we've got some images of. This race has a deep history here in Hawaii, and it means a lot to folks.
Yes, thank you. King Kalakaua was the one that initiated a race from the West Coast here to Hawaii, and that was in 1886. The Transpac that we know today started in 1906, and it includes trophies for the different divisions. It includes trophies for the boats that are together as a team that sail over here. And there's even a trophy for Hawaii-based boats, and we have a couple that are in this Transpac. Right now we have 53 boats, 450 sailors, 2 starts already. There's a 3rd start on Saturday, and they're on their way here.
Very good, and we're excited to welcome them. Of course, in that group, there are some Hawaii sailors. Really quickly, before we talk about what happens here, we do have some local folks sailing.
We definitely do. We've got about 5 or 6 boats that have got a variety of Hawaii residents. We've got 3 ladies out there.
Yes.
One of our women she's on Merlin, which is an all-time favorite. She's sailing with her dad. It's a multi-generational sport.
Yeah.
So they'll have the extra welcomes, the extra lays.
Very good. Leslie Foster with us. So behind us will be Transpac Party Island, here at the Hawaii Yacht Club. And tell me a little bit, point out where we are and kind of what happens right here in the harbor as those racers, as those competitors come in.
Right. So the boats will be finishing at Diamond Head, of course, and coming down the Alawai Channel, coming and doing the turning basin. Welcome to Hawaii, you're done, everything. And then they'll be splitting off to go to their slips. Waikiki Yacht Club, Hawaii Yacht Club, Alawai Harbor. Some of the boats are too big and we'll go over to Honolulu Harbor. The parties will then happen at our tent down there. Some will happen here. Arrival parties that are saying, congratulations, you're in. How's about a nice juicy burger? Since you've been living on who knows what out there. Waikiki Yacht Club's got a few parties.
Yeah, very good. And speaking of parties, I want to show this real quick if we can. I mean, maybe some glare here, but this is transpacYC.com. If you go here, you scroll down to the bottom, you'll see the shack there. That's the Honolulu Shack. Everything in Hawaii. That's a new portion of this website, and all the parties that happen at the Waikiki Yacht Club, the Hawaii Yacht Club, all this stuff, volunteer opportunities, it's all on there. And we should also mention that you can track this year live tracking thanks to Pasha Hawaii.
Yeah, it's right there, Pasha Tracking.
Yes.
Scroll up,
Okay.
right there, race tracker, right there.
Yep.
So
Tracking's
click
right
on
there.
that, you can see live the racers where they are, who's in ahead, who's not.
Yep.
It's
Very
exciting.
good. Yeah, and we can put that on the screen there too. So again, all that stuff you can find at hawaiinewsnow.com is where to go. So we'll send things back into the studio for now.
Thank you, Case. We wish them all a safe journey here to Hawaii. Well, let's take a live look outside now with our tower cam, looking out towards Honolulu Harbor on this Aloha Thursday. What's in store for your 4th of July holiday and the weekend? We're going to have Guy Hoggy's full forecast in 2 minutes.
First Alert Weather with Guy Hoggy.
How's it on this Thursday? We are now 33 days into hurricane season and still very quiet here in the Central Pacific. We've got some activity in the Eastern Pacific, but that will not impact our weather. This morning, we're seeing fewer showers out there. Not that it's totally dry. You can see there are some drips and drops moving through with the trade wind flow, but again, much drier. In fact, a drier weather pattern is taking over as we head into the weekend. Now, these winds are already stronger than they were yesterday, and they'll get stronger throughout the day. In fact, much windier conditions are expected over the weekend, so get ready for that. That means lower humidity levels as well, so it's going to be comfortable over the weekend, but there's going to be a higher elevated brush fire threat as those dry conditions persist and the humidity levels get lower. So it's going to be a beautiful day today. A few showers this morning, lots of afternoon sunshine. Trade winds picking up in the afternoon to 15 to 20 miles an hour. Now, as far as the surf, that south swell is holding firm. We still are seeing some fun-sized waves roll into south and even west side shores, and conditions are decent because of the winds. Going to be a little bit bumpy as those trade winds pick up in the afternoon, and as those trade winds pick up over the weekend, you can expect east shores to get a little bit bigger. And heads up, that UV index is extreme at 13. Now, we're expecting lots of sunshine over the next 7 days, including the 4th of July holiday. But the difference over the weekend is those winds pick up speed. 15 to 25 starting on Saturday all the way through Monday. So this is the windiest time frame, and that means the lowest humidity levels as well. Now remember, conditions are dry out there. We got some drought-stricken areas across state, so the brush fire threat will be elevated from Saturday through Monday.
Sounds good, Guy. Thank you. Well, still to come, it's a time-honored 4th of July tradition in New York City. We're going to take you to the official weigh-in for the Nathan's hot dog eating contest when we come back. orcas are showing affection in a surprising way. A new study published in Oceans says a kissing behavior likely helps young orcas strengthen social bonds. Researchers observed it both in wild pods in Norway and captive orcas in Spain, suggesting it's just part of their natural social behavior. Footage from 2013 shows two orcas at Loro Park in Tenerife engaging in the tender moment. It's known as the place where a kid can be a kid, but now those kids at heart have a place to play. Chuck E. Cheese is leveling up for adults with a new arcade experience called Chuck's Arcade. The new concept features classic games like Donkey Kong and Mortal Kombat alongside modern titles like Halo and Connect 4 Hoops. Adults can win prizes, grab old school merch, and enjoy a full food menu. Each location has its own vibe, complete with original artwork, and yes, those Chucky and animatronic bandmates who are part of the fun. Well, Independence Day is upon us, and the holiday is also known for a legendary competitive eating event in New York. Today was the official weigh-in for the Nathan's famous 4th of July International Hot Dog Eating Contest.
Return, trying to break his record of 76 hot dogs and buns, the great Joey Chestnut.
Yeah, Joey Chestnut is seeking his 17th mustard belt at the annual gut-busting get-together on the Coney Island Boardwalk. He was banned last year due to a dispute over his sponsorship deal with a company that makes plant-based hot dogs. Now, the 41-year-old owns the world record for 76 hot dogs and buns eaten in 2021. On the women's side, 10-time champion Miki Sudo back to defend her title. Thanks for watching.